Yes, it's every player's dream to always play the majors, and qualifying for the major is the first step going there. And I think that is what everyone's competing for. That's like the first thing you probably think of as a player when you start competing in Counter-Strike, is that you want to try and be at a major. And for a lot of players, that dream will never come true. And for some other players, it will eventually happen. So I think that is like what everyone is fighting for. So obviously it means a ton. I think if I had to find like one series that I really dislike or really felt like that was really hard, was probably the one in Antwerp, the one we played. I really took a lot of the blame on myself, because I had a really bad series, and in general I just didn't have that great of a tournament, and it's not fun to not perform at the most important tournament of the year. So I have something to redeem this time around, hopefully, if we qualify. I mean, one thing is not performing, and another thing is not performing at a major. That it just hits on a different level. So I think that's the game that I kind of regret in some sense the most. The first step of going through those type of things is that you need to just realize that you can't change it. Like accepting that you haven't really done well enough. I mean, like sometimes it's out of your hands. Sometimes you just end up in a situation that you can't really do anything. But most likely it's also because you've made some wrong decisions and you didn't hit your shots and whatnot. So in hindsight, it's about just accepting that you've messed up, and then moving forward, and then like trying to learn from it. And I think that is like the one thing I always try to do as a player, is that if I had a bad tournament, I'm gonna try and look back, seeing, okay, what did I do wrong, what could I improve on, and like reviewing the game and all that kind of stuff. So keeping this mindset of wanting to improve, even though that I've achieved a lot of things in Counter-Strike. It's always tough going into the RMRs, and the fact that everyone is here for that one main goal is to qualify, and you will always set up like upsets, and you will always end up in a situation where one of the favorites are not going through. I don't think we've ever tried where all the favorites went through and everyone wanted to do as well as they thought they could. So it's always like kind of frightening in some sense, thinking, oh, could it be us this time around? And we've been close, and I have been close a couple of times. So I think going into the RMR, the full focus is just like we need to qualify, and we know that we are one of the best teams in the world, and that also means that we're one of the best teams in Europe, obviously. So in some sense, it's a must, obviously, that we need to qualify. But at the same time, it's always finding the right balance and not putting too much pressure on ourselves. But at the same time, we also need to qualify. So it's like kind of a hard balance, actually.